Game on, everybody! It's the playoffs of the HeroesHype Tournament, and today we're actually in our first round double elimination bracket. So the second season is, well, about to end. There's quite a bit of prize money on the line. In total, actually, the players play for, I guess, roughly 10k now in the second season. And we have our first game of the day, which is a best-of-3 series, washed up against Feel the Heat. Now, the tournament is a little bit different from the qualifiers. We have, first of all, a double elimination system, and also the winner bracket final, the losers bracket final, and also the grand final are best-of-5s or best-of-7s with a winner bracket advantage in the grand final, meaning the team coming from the winner bracket will have a 1-0 lead over their opponent. And in today's game, washed up against Feel the Heat, and we've been talking about Feel the Heat a lot. They're a little bit the up-and-coming team. I gotta say that when we're looking towards them, especially in the past few games that I casted off Feel the Heat, especially X-Ray on the support, had some trouble. But as the teams become more and more familiar with each other, that obviously impacts the drafting too. And we see that reflected in the ban against Carrigan, since Nick these days, for washed up, has just started to get Carrigan more and more often, absolutely wreaking havoc in the opponent's backline. Since this is Dragonshire, Raxa gets banned out. Quite a strong hero there, of course, too. We have Maiev and Zeratul eliminated from washed up. And let's head straight into it. Kinda hyped for it. This should be a great tournament with some really cool teams and a bit of cool action. And the first thing that happens is that Hazobs goes straight into Junkrat. Now, the red got reworked and was pretty popular already after this. And then Blizzard looked at it and said, like, he's not strong enough yet. And they actually buffed Junkrat a little bit. And now Junkrat is once again a hero that you pretty much see in every single best of 3, either as a ban or as a pick. Very rarely does he not make an appearance. Same is pretty much true for Malfurion, actually. Already a top support in the competitive meta, and well, as we learned from the patch notes, apparently a couple of bronzies weren't quite sure how to win with the hero yet. So Blizzard decided that they needed to buff him a bit more, reduce some of the cooldowns, make him a little bit stronger. And obviously the combo with Tracer is still fantastic for Malfurion. I mean, that hasn't really changed. That was always the case, that heal over time is pretty cool for Tracer and allows her to go deeper into the opponent's backline with the overheal that you can push out though. And, well, on the other side we have Rhaegar. Nothing really changed on that. Ana actually has come back to the last patch a little bit too, and Banana H has resorted to Ana plays quite a lot. We've seen tons of that, and the build changed even more into the Sleeping Dart again, back from the Grenade. Melgan is on the front line for Masquerade, Rhaegar for the obvious camp control on the map, especially the bot lane with 2 Siege Giants and 1 Hard Camp. Pretty important there. Night Camp for the ones of you that are not old school and coming from Alpha or Beta of Heroes of the Storm. Camps got actually renamed quite a bit. They were renamed from easy and hard camps into Siege and Siege Giant and Night Camps, and then they were renamed into Bruiser Camps. Yeah, something along those lines. So we had actually like 2-3 renames for those, but for everybody that played during Alpha and Beta, hard and easy camps, what they were called back then. That's why some of the pros, actually, if you're watching some of the pro streams every now and then, you will see them say, hey, let's take the easy or let's take the hard. It's because that's still something that just, yeah, got carried over from back then. Greymane banned out, and also the ban against Leoric. So for the top lane, Leo is taken out. We could still see a little bit of Malthael shenanigans if they have a chance for that. And there's Tyrael. Tyrael together with Tracer. It's really just one of those cookie cutter builds that we... I mean, this is pretty much down to a T. You get the shields from Tyrael, you get the heal from Malfurion. It's great for Tracer. Unless you want to go into double support, which you still could, by the way. Tassadar. Wave clear, fits, has the vision. But we have Malthael. Malthael against Mal'Ganis a bit. And let's see what they can push out with this. What's the last two picks? Dehaka for the global, and Phoenix is getting picked. Okay, so we have a bit more auto attack damage against Tracer. Last pick for Feel the Heat. Every single time I see Feel the Heat, I really want them to go into more mage heroes or a lot more fire heroes. Put in that Ragnaros, put in that Kel'Thas. Just bring the heat right there, but that's kind of unlikely. Even though I gotta admit that in the French qualifier for the Nations Cup lately, we have seen Ragnaros and also Kel'Thas. But in this case, the last pick is Hanzo. Kolio's locking him down here. as we head into game number 1 of the best of 3 series. We're in the quarterfinals of the winner bracket, ladies and gentlemen. Dragonshire is our first map in the best of 3 series between Washed Up and Feel the Heat. Game on, ladies and gentlemen! Washed Up against Feel the Heat. Game number 1 of our best of 3 series in the playoffs. And on the left side, Hazops on Junkrat for Washed Up, Nick on Phoenix. We have the Quasar playing the Haka, Banana H on Rhaegar, and Masquerade on Mal'Ganis. And over to the right side of the map, X-Ray with Malfurion, Wit on Tyrael, Toulouf on Malthael, Dino on Tracer, and Kolios on Hanzo. Okay, X-Ray, the last time that we casted his team, had some trouble, especially on Malfurion, to stay alive. We're gonna find out if that's gonna change here today. But obviously the combo of him, Tyrael, and Tracer is a pretty true and tried one that they can use now in order to get more pressure in. With the talents, we have immediately the tricky shuffles on level 1 for Hazops. The build hasn't really changed for him a whole lot ever since the last patch, and we've seen him pick the hero up a bit more often. 5 versus 5 in the middle of the map, as both of them are out for blood right now. And the Mal'Ganis play at the front is already initiating a bit of an attack here for them. Malthael himself on the way up to the top. We have 1 global in this game, by the way. So it's only the Haka that can make the global plays here. Unless we're seeing a few more mobility talents like Judgment on Tyrael. Let's be honest for a second, that ain't happening. Would be kind of funny though. I mean, we had a few games lately where we've seen something like Judgment and the Hunt, but that was kind of funny. That is not so funny. I was just talking about it, and X-Ray is dying again on Malfurion. Yeah, that hero is just not having a lot of fun here, and that was a quick kill for Washed Up and gives them a small lead in the early game. Not so much in experience or anything, but there's a bit more momentum now going on for them. And Witz, I mean, he can check out the position all he wants. At the end of the day, he won't be able to do anything about it. Gets even attacked here in the middle of the map. And they're going straight in for that move. Towards the top, Toulouf still rocking it. And that minion wave has to be taken out. I gotta admit that I really like that skin. But at the same time, I hesitated in the past to talk about this because in our today's political climate, it's always a little bit weird to talk about it. But every single time I see that Malthael skin with that mecha tint or mecha touch, it looks kind of cool, like that white and blue. But then again, if in today's climate you see a tall figure with a white hoodie, yeah, I mean, you could say it's the KKK Malthael. I'm not sure that we should, but I mean, at the same time, it's so much on the nose that sometimes I just don't know how to dodge these things, so it had to be put out there right away. If there are any nefarious intentions that Malthael has, then they might be revealed with this skin in particular. Outside of that, I think the Robo look looks kind of cool on him. Way better than on a hero like Tyrael. I don't think that Robo Tyrael is actually all that crazy good. I like the Seraphim? Yeah, the Seraphim version a lot more. So Masquerade already jumping around here, all the way towards the top side. Nick is currently trying to deal with the camp, helping out the Haka. The two of them have to work together in order to take down the push that's coming through here. But with this, we're currently having at the bottom of the map, Hazops shelling away. The wave clear of his hero is obviously making it pretty easy for him to deal with the situation. The problem is that in a 2 versus 1 situation, he won't be able to do a whole lot. Broccoli is already starting to jump in. And yeah, we're gonna get some broccoli stacks in this game. I want to see a full-fledged broccoli with a ton of stacks and just turning into Groot. And then just coming in, wailing away, getting a couple of kills. I am broccoli. And taking them down. Full on Groot style. That's exactly what we need here. 18 stacks for Malthael, as we're having him on level 4 with a quest talent. Level 7 is in. And there's the bomb, and Masquerade is down. The Vampire seeing a little bit too much daylight here, but the counter kill towards the hooded figure at the top lane. So with Malthael eliminated, this is pretty much a kill for a kill and an opportunity to get the Dragonade now too. Everybody is starting to jump in, try and check that out here. Nick is already on the move in the mid lane, but has to be careful. Tracer would love to connect the bomb, but the problem is that Banana H is there too, and the little doggy wants the kill, but dives in a little bit too deep. Oh, turns around. The parting gift by Dino takes down Rhaegar. 3 kills against 2. Feel the heat is turning the heat up a bit. Especially onto the Haka at the top, and that poor dinosaur might just get extinct once again. Is able to escape, turns around for the Tong, but doesn't land it. They're still fighting for the first Dragonite, and I mean, the game is on. It is the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. There's a shit ton of prize money on the line now, and you want to make sure that you bring your A game here. No mistakes, no memes, no nothing, just from the get-go. You want to go straight in and deliver, especially... Ooh, Malthael dead again, topside. Damn, that guy is not having a good day here. Yeah, especially, of course, since the team that arrives in the grand final from the winner bracket is going to have the 1-0 lead in the best of 7 series that is going to start there. So, at this point, having X-Ray attacked again. 3 kills against 3, locked down against the Bat. But he is able to escape. Kolios is jumping out already. There's a lot of attention in the middle of the map right now with the blue team trying to get the Dragonite. Bomb gets connected. Azorps with the attempt to go for the Dragonite, and he gets it. Fire away, baby. Dragonite comes in and kicks Malfurion in the nuts. He gets immediately pushed to the other side of the map, and all of a sudden we're having level 10 abilities ready for the blue team. Washed up with an opportunity to maybe even get a kill here. All the way up to the top with the only one trying to defend. And here comes the Heroic on the side of Washed Up with the immediate Carrion Swarm, Ancestral, and also Purification Salvo. The salvo is going to be real, and at the top, the attack is already about to happen. Masquerade is trying to set it up. Can't do too much. Follow-up isn't there yet. Rhaegar came in for a bit of a last bite, but wasn't able to get a lot done here. Now, the Dragonite is obviously still pretty early in the game, 6 minutes in, so normally you're not able to do too much with that, but they are able to get more wave clear out with him, and they destroyed the wall at the bottom of the map and open up the fort in the middle for the next attack too. Nicely done here. With this said, Arrow comes out as the opponent's team goes into their heroics as well. Yep, nice move on the Carrion Swarm, dodging out on a bit of the damage. Taluf, the bomb, and a Riptire kill against Malthael. Tyrael dies too, judged and not found worthy. And with this, we have now 5 kills against 3. Tormented Souls were not enough to make Malfurion rock that team fight. And with that momentum that Washed Up is now building for themselves, they're focusing their attention onto one of the Siege Giants camp, trying to take more damage towards the bot lane with the camp increase as well. So right now, damage output, just taking a quick of a glimpse here. Phoenix on 19,000, Hazorps is sitting on 12k, the same as the Bat on the damage numbers. 21,000 for Tracer. And over here, Banana Age and Nick are going for the next camp. And again, we talked about this a little bit in the draft, but I want to emphasize it again. If you have Rhaegar on this map, the cool thing about him is that he has that added power that he can offer at any point when you're trying to go for a camp. But since the bot lane is pressured from 2 Siege Giant camps and this Bruiser camp, it is highly important. Masquerade is coming in. They might be trying to go for the kill here. Purification Salvo and the kill against Malfurion and Tracer. Both of them are down. Masquerade is trying to chase Wit down on Mal'Ganis, but doesn't even have to. 13 is already in their hands. That gives them the lead in experience. The stats lead thanks to the level advantage that they're holding. And they drop the first fort in the game now as well. Towards the top, Malthael is still sitting tight, trying to move away on the reindeer. At the bottom of the map, we're having Masquerade starting to move in against the wall. And there's actually a lot of camps. They could have maybe set up a bit more pressure. And they would have used that spell aura here a little bit more to their advantage. But there is an opportunity to get another Dragonite, and they're trying to take it. Over here, Wit and X-Ray are already going in, and Masquerade is just moving in here, no problem whatsoever. They're trying to make the move. Here comes the arrow, gets dodged, and everybody is just absolutely astonished. Who are you? I am Batman. As the Bat comes in, dodges everything. The Haka is there too. They're trying to get the kill against him. That doesn't work either. The isolation is already connected. That's the sanctification on the ground as the Riptire comes in, but they still get the value, and X-Ray is once more down as Masquerade comes in, and the Bat is just able to set it up for them. Top lane gets pressured. Junkrat jumps into the middle of the map as Little Red Boy is starting to catapult himself towards the top lane to pressure Taluf even more and go for the second shrine right here. Time to shine, ladies and gentlemen. Washed Up is opening the tournament with a bit of a bang here. Looking for the next kill against Taluf. The Tong misses. And Taluf is still on the run with his ult activated and is able to escape. At the bottom of the map, the Batman again trying to make a bit of a play here against Khaldor and Wit. Masquerade apparently looking for a challenge. 1 versus 1? Don't insult me, baby. I'm going straight in for the 1 versus 2. That's just how good I am. Oh yeah. And they get the kill against Khaldor. Rhaegar comes in and bites the arch in the ass right here, so no chance for Hanzo to make a play. In the middle of the map, look who's there, Dequaza! He wants the Dragonite, and he gets the Dragonite. Straight moving through the middle, actually through the bottom. Ooh, they want to go for the keep immediately, and with the level 16 they just got, you can't blame them. So they're starting to make their plays. The hunger of the wolf, that wolf is always hungry, I can tell you that. I've never seen that wolf not being hungry. If ever you ever had a Rhaegar in your team, I mean, these guys are going in for the last bite every single time. Jump, jump, and bite, bite. They're just yapping the entire time. The little doggy on the move, and so is the Dragonite. We're 10 minutes in, and they're looking towards the keep, and they're trying to get it. They're going for Dino and Tracer, nearly locking the kill in as well. Not quite able to make it happen, but with the keep already in half HP, I think chances of this one surviving are pretty slim. There's the salvo, connecting with only 2, though. That's enough to chase them away. Keep down, and they open up the bottom of the map to make sure that later on with another Dragonite, they can go in for the game. The arrow missing again, and that is not a good start into the attempted fight here. With level 16 for the opponent, I would still be a bit weary of trying to lock this one down, especially with the arrow already fired. Need to be a bit careful here. 10 stacks on the Malfurion on his level 4. I really doubt that we're going to see a full-on unleashed Groot in this game. This looks more like standard broccoli that you can snack away while watching a movie. Towards the top, Junkrat still getting that siege damage in. Where's he actually sitting at this point? Yeah, 113,000 sounds about right. Batman still at the bottom of the map. Masquerade is currently sitting tight here. Oh, and towards the top, there we go. I mean, if you think about it, if this is Batman, then this is definitely the Joker. And if the two of them fight against each other, then that's already just promising fireworks. If they're on the same team, though, I mean, whew, how do you beat that shit? Like, I don't really know. Also, while we are saying that, I mean, 2 different Jokers, 2 different movies, absolutely granted. But after watching the Joker, I gotta say, Heath Ledger all the way, baby. His performance was just better in The Dark Knight. I mean, haters gonna hate. I'm not trying to rip on good old Joaquin Phoenix. The guy played a fantastic Joker in the last movies, but Heath Ledger all the way. Okay. By the way, also Joker over Batman. Just in case it needed to be stated, I don't really think so, but what do you know? These days, things are crazy. Dequaza looking for the little lick and the little dragon. The rest of the team is already starting to move topside to attempt to get another kill. Bottom of the map, heavily pushed with the camp, and Taluf is the one to take care of it. Masquerade is still sitting in the shadows here. He's not the only one, by the way. Dequaza's also waiting for the next target, as we have Rhaegar, as usual, on the camp. And that's the important one right here. Make sure that you get the camp. Make sure that you get that lightning shield value. Get the drag and the follow-up. Nice follow-up here, but the arrow this time actually connected. They're still trying to make the play. Masquerade is going up against 5, and he is just going away with those Feldlaws. Look at him go. Damn. It's just absolutely rocking it right here. Damn, son. So, Masquerade still sitting tight. Malfurion all the way down to the bottom of the map, pretty much alone. The old geezers trying to make it out of there. And I don't think he's going to have a problem with that. Or, well, maybe he does. Masquerade is sitting at the side, trying to make his way into this one. There's the salvo, Tranquility being used. Another Dragonite opportunity. Yes, the top cap is taking down the fort. Malfurion is dead already. The Sanctification a little bit too low. And now we're having Dequaza moving in as Batman is starting to get the kill against Tracer. Barely not able to get the last hit in. But we still see Tyrael in trouble. And as the Dragonite is taken, the opportunity for the blue team team to finish game number 1. 10 kills against 3 as they're moving through the bottom of the map. Top side, the camp is still getting mad value after taking down the fort. And with level 20 abilities soon in the hands of Washed Up, they are focusing their attention onto the core, trying to finish game number 1. Malfurion is still dead, and that, ladies and gentlemen, might just be it. I mean, the arrow comes out and this time connects, but this is still not looking pretty for the red team. It's still early on in the game, though. They might be able to defeat this, but Malfurion, he came, he saw, and he died immediately. Immediately down again. 5 deaths on Malfurion in this game. The core is falling, and he's not the only one. Tracer and Marthel has also been eliminated. Wit is trying to buy a bit more time, but that's also not happening. He goes down too, and that is it. Game number 1 ends in favor of Washed Up as they take the lead in the best of 3 series here in the playoffs. Game number 2, second map, Sky Temple, as we're heading into the second map of the best of 3 series here in the playoffs. Washed Up against Feel the Heat. Let's see if they're going to feel the heat, because so far Washed Up has been doing pretty well. They had a very solid draft on the first map and they played it extremely well too. Masquerade seemed to have a lot of fun on Mal'Ganis. He just completely dominated there. And now the big question is obviously, how is Feel the Heat going to change their MO here? I really would like, I said it between the games, I would like for X-Ray to just take a step away from Malfurion. It doesn't seem like his hero. Every single time I see him on Malfurion, he is focused heavily by the opponent's team and he is struggling to keep himself alive. So I would prefer if they would go into a different hero for him that is maybe a little bit more down his comfort zone. Now we have Chen banned out on Sky Temple, another map where we could see globals, and the boss fight can be important here too, obviously. Maiev has been banned in the first game, and they're banning the same hero again. Keep in mind, the other hero they banned was actually Zeratul, but at least Feel the Heat switches their ban pattern as they get rid of Abathur. Don't blame them for that. I mean, HeroesHype's team in the past have focused heavily on that. Junkrat gets banned. Again, Blizzard buffed him once more. Not that it was needed. And we have ETC, so a pseudo-global for Wit, pretty much a pattern that you see a lot from the former Granite Gaming squad. Now the Laubas fan club with an early on ETC in the draft. You can then later on decide if you want to play with the Mosh Pit or if you want to play with Stage Dive, if you put ETC in the main tank position or onto the off lane, and can adjust your draft accordingly to what your opponent drafts. Rhaegar for camp control, again by Washed Up, which leaves us with a potential Malfurion pick on the side of Feel the Heat. And the early on Johanna. This is something that Washed Up has been doing a lot. There was actually a time where they heavily spec'd into Johanna and Blaze at the beginning of the game. But in this case, I could see them draft Dehaka again if they're worried about global presence. There's obviously still Falstad that could be played, and HeroesHype has done a lot of that in the past. Well, so much for that. Falstad is already taken by Kolios, and interestingly enough, we have X-Ray on Lucio. Now, with this draft, the question is right away, do they want to play this in a macro sense that they're attempting to run with Lucio across the map and take structures down? If that's the case, then they might want to go into Greymane as the next hero, or as one of the next heroes. If you have Falstad, you can always cover retreat with a good Mighty Gust. Yeah, there's the hammer ban against Dennis, against HeroesHype. But Greymane for the red team would be a good choice for sure. With Falstad, you can either play the global game, you can also cover any kind of attack towards structures with a quick Mighty Gust in order to force the retreat, help Lucio with speed advantage to move out of this one. So that's an opportunity. But let's see what we're gonna get with this. There's Hanzo, okay. And Kerrigan! There we have it. Washed Up! Again with a Kerrigan pick here for Nick. He really likes this one. And now the big question. Greymane or no Greymane? What's the play? If they want to play... Yeah, there it is. Greymane, and now they can play the macro game against their opponent. And Mal'Ganis is put into the main tank position, which means that Wit is most likely going to switch it up with Taluf and will then take on Mal'Ganis, whereas ETC moves on to the side lane with the stage dive. So a pretty sweet draft actually. It's more of a macro draft than anything else. You still have kill potential obviously with it, but you want to take structures more so down than anything else. I'm still waiting on what the reaction is from Washed Up though. And it's Malthael. They go for Malthael here. So Malthael is the choice, the last one for them. Triple frontline right now. The lead already in the hands of the blue team as we are heading into Sky Temple, our second map in the best of 3 series here at the playoffs. Game on! Washed Up against Feel the Heat. We have game number 2 on Sky Temple, which these days is very, very blue. I talked about it the last time, but ever since they put that change in, I can't really help myself, but that maps just look weird. To the left side of the map, Hazops on Hanzo. We have Banana H on Rega, and Nick on Carrigan is going to try to carry again, with Dequaza on Malthael and Masquerade on Johanna. On the right side of the map, Feel the Heat with X-Ray on Lucio, Wit on Melganis. We have Kolios on Falstead, Dinu on Greymane, and Toulouf on ETC. Let's get ready to rock and roll, everybody. Laws of Hope on level 1 for Masquerade, who is making an interesting rotation here for just a moment. But yeah, it honestly feels to me like Sky Temple crashed and has been sunk. If there would be a couple, like one of the April Fool's jokes that Blizzard could really go for, if they would just get a couple of like air bubbles into the game next to every single hero, and then they could pretend that Sky Temple was actually, well, I don't know, Atlantis, and it sunk or something. That blue tint that it has, if they put a little bit of a filter over it, it would really look like this is an underwater map more so than anything else. Slow the movements down of the heroes maybe a little bit too. Like, there's an idea for you, Blizzard. Free of charge, just go for it. You can, no problem whatsoever. But yeah, down to the bottom of the map, that's where Falstead is already positioning himself. It's actually exactly where I like him, since the first 2 temples are spawning mid and top lane. So that's what we're seeing the global. Later on, the double global or option, of course. I like that we're actually having Masquerade covering the spot a little bit and making sure that the siege giants aren't taken. He himself wants to go for them. And it's a bit of a different setup because Greymane is moving with X-Ray onto the Bruiser camp first, whereas down at the bottom of the map we have seen the first siege giants taken, and now the rest of the team is helping out Masquerade to grab these as well. So if they have both of the siege giant camps, that's actually a pretty sweet position for them. They have to react to what's the top lane though, because not only do we have now a Bruiser camp pushing in against Dequaza, but it's accompanied by 3 heroes, and one of them is Greymane. And when Greymane makes it onto the structures, we all know that that doesn't really bode well for those. So with the second siege giant camp taken, Falstead now is in a similar spot where he has to defend against this particular camp, assisted by Hazoops, and he has to be cautious about these 2 as well. But everybody is moving topside. I mean, even Wit has now started to focus his attention in, but it's only Nick and Dequaza here, which means that we have 2 melee heroes against this. Once that we are seeing Banana H and Masquerade moving into this, there's going to be a lightning shield on Johanna, so that's a bit more wave clear plus the condemn. And that's really going to help to take this down quicker. But the entire idea of the red team is going to be to take these structures down. I mean, the pause actually comes at a good point in time because I can talk through a couple of things here. If you're playing on Sky Temple in general, what you're trying to do is you're trying to take down as many structures as you possibly can without the help of the objective. Because the temples are obviously directly firing on structures, and once that those forts are taken down, keeps are getting attacked and afterwards the core. So if you're falling behind in structures, your opponent can always make a choice. Either go for a trade on the objective and claim value there, or instead try and go for structures themselves. And I went over this a little bit in the draft. If you go for a combo that features Lucio and Greymane, a bit of an idea that you have is to try and rotate away from your opponent onto a lane and then just take down structures with the help of Greymane in Worgen form. And when the opponent comes, you can always move away with Lucio. And the added benefit of having Falstead in this setup is that if you need, you can always fly in and gust the opponent away to cover the retreat. And especially in this case, it's going to be interesting since we have Wit in the main tank position, and that means that ETC, played by Toulouf, is very likely going to go in stage dive on level 10. So you don't only have Falstad as a global, but you have more or less a double global with ETC being the stage dive hero. And so there is a lot of potential for you playing around the opponent and trying to go for structures. If afterwards then, when the rotation from Washed Up comes, in order to defend those structures, you can get onto the objective and get value there, you find yourself in a really good spot where you force your opponent to make a choice. And reacting to these situations properly and always making the perfect split between defending your own structures or trying to go for the objective is really difficult if executed correctly. There's a lot of momentum, a lot of CC, of course, for Washed Up that they can use, especially if the combo between Johanna and Kerrigan works well, or the Hanzo arrow later on in the game. But generally speaking, this setup is trying to teamfight. And one of the things that is usually happening on Sky Temple as well is that the boss is going to become a huge focus point after the 5-minute mark. And that's where Falstad again can play a huge role, because he can gust the opponent away. There's no sanctification that could interrupt it. And on top of that, we're also having ETC, who can obviously get a little bit more pressure out by simply using the face melt here. So there's a lot of tools that the red team has. But by the way, not only ETC, you have the Boop on Lucio too. And you have also his sound barrier on level 10. So I actually like the draft that they have. The question is simply, can they execute it? Because it's not really easy. And especially if the Kerrigan setup is able to get their kills, then it's easy to fall behind and having a tough time to fight for these objectives. But right now, the problem for Washed Up, just to close that loop again and to come full circle here to bring us to the current situation once more, is that they have to deal with these pressure plays. And since we just saw that camp taken here at the bottom, it's going to take quite some time for Banana, H and Masquerade to make their way towards the top. So that's time where the heroes here can try and take this one down. There's already a little bit of a delay attempt by Wit here. So you see the first turret fall pretty quickly. Falstad has, of course, to try and make the counter play at the bottom, and he's trying to take these siege giants down. But now that we're having everybody topside, there's one turret down, second one is nearly eliminated, and on top of that, you also have that front gate nearly destroyed. So this is exactly the situation that I've been trying to highlight, with still counter pressure on the bottom of the map on the other hand. So that should not be forgotten here. So this is a camp that was actually stolen away, and that rotation is gonna drop Hazu. Yeah, close, but he dies. So Hazu down, and with Hanzo eliminated, they can try and make a bit more of a play now. But yeah, just to give a bit of an idea of the drafts and what the teams were trying to do with this. So there's a cool thought process behind both drafts. The main question is, how do you execute and how do you play around that? So we'll see how it works out. But for now, we have a very even playing field, with both teams taking the opponent's structures a little bit. But I should probably highlight that the pressure against this wall at the bottom is only going to come into play for objective number 2. Objective number 1 is not really going to care a lot about this. And with the damage that was made here, if the red team takes the entirety of the top shrine, it means that the fort will fall. And that's something that Washed Up is not going to get from the mid-temple. Especially since now Lucio moved in too in order to take a couple of these shots away. But it's one of the reasons why Washed Up is moving so far to the top now in order to claim shots of this shrine. Because they know if they don't go for this one, then they will lose the fort at the top side. That's a pretty tricky spot, especially with Falstad at the bottom of the map having a global mobility that he can use in order to help out here if he needs to. They're trying to make the play. Masquerade gets actually assisted by the temple as he gets pushed away. And yep, there we go. Falstad flies in. Kerrigan is coming in now too. Is trying to make a little bit of a play here. And what do we have with that? The fight is on. The main tank isn't here though. ETC is trying to help out in that position. We have level 7 abilities, which give us now Boomerang for Falstad. Yep, here comes Johanna. But they're going into the 5 versus 5. Locked down against Wit. He comes in again. And the Batman is moving back to make sure that he isn't focused too quickly. But with 1 kill and now the final few shots in their hands, this is still looking pretty even. Masquerade then again might be in trouble, but he's able to move out since he had the Iron Skin cooldown back up. So both of the teams pretty much splitting the shots. Even experience more or less for them now, with Falstad taking the bot lane. ETC with the prog rock on 10 stacks for now. And everybody is waiting for the next objective. And this is where the wall that has been destroyed at the bottom of the map becomes important. I talked about this a little bit earlier briefly. If you take the fountain down, and the next temple gets announced down here, you have a really good shot at having the better position against your opponent. So this is one of the things that Washed Up is going to try and do. Take the fountain down before the objective spawns, so that they have a retreat point that they can move to. They can pre-tap here and go into the fight, and their opponent won't be able to do that. So this is exactly what we're seeing right now. That's why the defense is there too. ETC at the top, on the other hand, has died. And we're seeing also Lucio attack now, but Banana H might be in trouble. Dino wants to go for him, but he can't get the kill. We still have Wit at the top, Morganus. There's the tap for now. Masquerade is low. He himself needs to be careful, as the Iron Skin's still up. Doesn't mean a whole lot. It's still a 4 versus 3 right now. They're trying to go for Masquerade, and that's a lot of damage, but it's not enough to get the final hit confirmed. Karrigan is slow on the rotation from the mid lane now, and might be able to force something here. Nick with the ult, and locks them in. The arrow misses completely, but Last Rites doesn't. Point and click the kill against Greymane, and just as level 10 is ready, they have the first stack and therefore a 5-second cooldown reduction. Kolos is on the move away. Ultralisk is moving in too. Level 10 ability is currently not ready for Feel the Heat, which puts them on the back foot. But the objective has been announced, and as predicted, the fountain gets attacked right here. So, with this said, in comes the Cursed Bullet. There's a Mighty Gust, Carrion Swarm, and ETC with the stage dive for the second global. And they still have the opportunity to put Greymane into a good position in order to take structures down. But right now, yeah, still waiting for that rotation. Masquerade is not falling for any traps here. Lucio and Rhaegar, the only ones at the bottom of the map, and Johanna is rotating in to help out here. But there's big trouble brewing at the top. Nice dodge on the combo. Well done so far. Hanzo's coming in too. The rest of the team busying themselves in the mid and the bot lane, as they're trying to split Washed Up. And Washed Up is currently attempting to react as well as they can. ETC stage dives down to the bottom of the map. They're going for Banana H, and the doggy is dead. The dog is down, and they try to go for Masquerade, but Johanna is Johanna, so she's simply walking away from this one. Doesn't really care at this point. So, with that said, Quasar up at the top, still taking another wave down and trying to push this entire thing forward to the fort. But a few of the shots at least taken at the bottom. The final ones, that is. I would love to see Dino a bit more on the structures. I really think that with the draft that they're playing, it would be beneficial for them to make that play here. The Mighty Gust to save Taluf, and he's able to move out of this. But the fort at the top side is obviously going to get eliminated. Washed Up is currently looking at a 1-0 lead over their opponent. And this is a best-of-3 series. We are in the playoffs, we are in the winner bracket, and we are in the round of 8 right now. So still best-of-3. And one of the teams will move forward in the winner bracket, and the opponent will drop down into the losers bracket. Well, in a politically correct world, we don't say loser bracket anymore. It's the lower bracket, because we are all winners here, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, but we say losers bracket, because we are hardcore. That's just what we are. It's just what we are here. So, yeah. Well, level 13 abilities, just a little bit quicker for them. Yeah, with that we have a lot of powerful things now in the hands of Washed Up. Inevitable End, really great Chrysalis for Karrigan, plus also the Earthen Shield. Good combo. Whew! Nick, baby, nearly gets the kill. That would have been a great solo, but it just shows once again the prowess of Nick on Karrigan as he's trying to carry again. Top side, ETC is also making the play, as both teams have finally access to level 13 talents, and for now we're seeing the Flow Rider here. Ooh, attack at the bottom, and Mal'Ganis actually goes down. So this time Batman not able to keep himself alive. ETC comes in, Karrigan with a combo. The arrow follow-up, and Falstad goes down. He gets the gust through, but that's all that he can do here. And they're starting to make the next play as the fort is eliminated, Washed Up with the momentum. And we come back to what I talked about earlier. Look at the minimap. All of the forts are eliminated on one side, and the blue team is still holding on to all of them. They lost a few of their hit points, but now with a double temple activating, it's time to attack the forts, the keeps straight away. And with both of the objectives taken, you can just imagine how much of a snowball in terms of structural pressure is being established here by Washed Up. This is exactly what you're trying to do on Sky Temple. This puts them in a fantastic position. And now they don't have to play a risky game anymore. They can play a safe game and just take this slow. If the game continues like this and they always split temples with their opponent, they will eventually win the game. So they are heavily ahead right now. Not only in experience, not only with a new talent that they will get in a few seconds, but the structural position is so strong for them that they will gain a massive map advantage if they just split temples with their opponent on every single objective. And having camp pressure against Feel the Heat is going to add to that even more. That's where those siege giants at the bottom of the map now come into play. Falset is flying in. And I have to actually highlight this. This is against the team that runs a double global. They are winning the macro game against a team that is running double globals. Wit is down 3 stacks by now also for Malthael. Top side gets pressured by the camp, and this is going to eliminate a few more structures here, or at least get them low. And towards the bottom, Falset has to deal with the siege giant camp, as we see with level 16 washed up, moving in again to get even more pressure against the top side of the map right here. 29,000 at this point, and well, this is looking incredibly well for washed up. This is looking powerful. It's looking really strong here. We're having 5 kills only against 2. That's not really a whole lot. Oh my god, the bird goes down into the KFC bucket. And with this, we have the immediate crash against the next hero. Yeah, that doesn't look pretty. That looks like keep number 1 is going to fall, and they might even rotate into the next one. Maybe here into the middle, or just towards the boss. 20 seconds still on the death timer. Not really enough to make that rotation and go for the attack, but they definitely have the lead. And it's half a level until the blue team, sorry, the red team, will gain level 16 talent, so that doesn't help them either. For now, another attempt maybe to go for the kill. Not quite. Not quite yet, but there's camps to be taken. There's another double temple that will be announced in just a few seconds, so they can make the rotation towards those. And this is just... the air is getting thinner and thinner and thinner for Feel the Heat here. And Feel the Heat has been getting better and better and better through the past few weeks and tournaments, but Washed Up is just on a different level these days. If you remember, I talked about this 1-2 months ago when Washed Up, they changed their lineup. Mene left, some of the other gems left too, and now they're looking incredibly strong now that they have found the synergy with the new players here, and they just find that rhythm. They still go for the boss, which is a bit of a risk, since Falstad is there with a Mighty Gust. I'm a bit surprised to even see that. And they're moving away from it, which is definitely the smart choice to make here, because, again, it is tricky when that happens, and ETC can easily defend the bottom of the map with... Arrow misses, and that's Karrigan's fault, but they get the kill. Greymane dodges on the arrow because Karrigan literally pulls him away from it, says like, no, you're not gonna get killed by this arrow, I'm gonna kill you myself, traitor. So Greymane goes down, the big bad wolf is dead. And the bot lane is still pressuring the next keep. And this keep is taking more and more damage. And what does that mean? That means that the bottom shots of this temple are going to seal the deal on it very quickly. But they're not even going for it. They're going for the boss. And if they get it, it will be a checkmate position. No matter what Feel the Heat does, if this boss ends up in the hands of Washed Up, they just lost the game. Washed Up can now do whatever the fuck they want. Go onto both of the temples, let the boss push through the bottom of the map. No matter what you do at this point, it is checkmate. At this point, Feel the Heat, they have to defend the boss, they have to defend the bot lane temple, and they have to defend the top. They're trying to make the play on the left side, and it looks like they might get the kill against Hanzo. Indeed, they do. Malthael still moving away. Kolios, doesn't get him. But the boss is making its way towards the core. And honestly, they might still be able to save the core for now, for a little bit longer. But the keep at the bot lane has fallen. Rhaegar at the top makes sure that they're going to lose the keep here in the middle. And once that all the keeps are down, this is pretty much it. The core is already starting to fall. And if Johanna makes it onto the point here, she's going to get a few more shots fired against it. ETC jumps in now too. The keep is already gone. Core is getting attacked now by the temple as well, losing even more hit points. Down here, the last rites against Wit, secure another death against Melganis, and this is just a disaster. ETC goes down as well, so does Lucio. 10 kills against 9. The final final few shots have been fired against the core. That's 21%. And obviously with level 20 abilities now in their hands, the red team is, well, not having another chance here. There's already the play of the game as Hazobs is jumping in, says, hi, I want to be in the picture too. They go for it. There's a bit of a kill attempt towards the left. It's actually Malthael that dies first, but Greymane gets wrecked as well. And this is going to be the end. A 2-0 victory for Washed Up in the first series of the playoffs between Feel the Heat and Washed Up. GG and well played. Hey guys, thanks for watching today's video, and I hope that you enjoyed the match and the commentary. The remaining time of the video has been added to protect against spoilers caused by the length of the video itself. But please keep in mind, though, that this does not only mean more work for me, but also has a negative impact on the popularity of the videos and the channel because of YouTube's algorithms. It would be greatly appreciated if you'd consider supporting the channel and help me to continue the daily esports coverage by clicking the join button below the video or supporting me through the Patreon page linked in the video description. Thanks a lot for the support and see you guys next time.